It's The Real News. I'm Aaron Mate. Hezbollah has claimed victory in a fight for al-Qaeda's last remaining foothold on the Lebanon-Syria border. A ceasefire between Hezbollah and the Nusra Front took effect today after days of fighting. Nusra was al-Qaeda's affiliate in Syria before changing its name last year. The ceasefire includes the release of captured Hezbollah fighters and the transfer of Nusra members to the Syrian province of Idlib. Hezbollah's next battle is likely a nearby enclave held by the so-called Islamic State. But they have another foe to worry about as well.
Lebanon is on the front lines in the fight against ISIS, al-Qaeda, and Hezbollah. The Lebanese people of all faiths are working together to keep their and you know this, and we've been discussing this at great length, their country safe and prosperous. They love their country, and they're going to keep it safe and prosperous.
President Trump said those words at the White House this week alongside Lebanese Prime Minister Saad Hariri. What Trump apparently doesn't know is that instead of fighting Hezbollah, Hariri is in fact its political partner. Hariri has a power-sharing deal with a Hezbollah-backed president, and Hezbollah effectively controls a majority of the Lebanese parliament. Trump's comments come as the U.S. increasingly targets Hezbollah and its ally, Iran. U.S. lawmakers are working to impose new sanctions on Hezbollah over Lebanese objections. Lebanon has warned the sanctions could cripple its banking sector. Joining me from Beirut is Bashir Saadi, lecturer in religion and politics at the University of Stirling, Scotland. He's the author of Hezbollah and the Politics of Remembrance. Bashir, welcome.
Oh, welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Let's start with this offensive that's just wrapped up on the Lebanon-Syria border. Hezbollah claiming victory. What has happened there?
Well, the summary you gave was actually quite accurate. Hezbollah has decided to do this operation over the last few weeks, and has been warning that it will do the operation. And they went into our cell, and they were actually, I think most people were surprised that it didn't take much time for them to control the area. So they neutralized the armed factions inside, whatever the actual real affiliations of these armed factions. And there's still, I think, negotiations taking place, if I'm not mistaken, over the fate of some of the remaining people within these territories. Strategically, militarily, the people who are inside the territory who pose some kind of military threat have been neutralized.
Let's go back to President Trump and his comments this week. Trump signaling a even more confrontational posture towards Hezbollah than already exists. So let's go back to his appearance in the Rose Garden with Hariri and hear more of what Trump said.
Hezbollah is a menace to the Lebanese state, the Lebanese people, and the entire region. The group continues to increase its military arsenal, which threatens to start yet another conflict with Israel, constantly fighting them back. With the support of Iran, the organization is also fueling humanitarian catastrophe in Syria. Hezbollah likes to portray itself as a defender of Lebanese interests, but it's very clear that its true interests are those of itself and its sponsor, Iran.
So that's President Trump speaking in the Rose Garden this week alongside Lebanese Prime Minister Saad Hariri. And I want to play again that clip we played in the intro of Trump not apparently realizing that Hezbollah is a part of the Lebanese political system. Let's go to that clip.
Lebanon is on the front lines in the fight against ISIS, al-Qaeda, and Hezbollah. The Lebanese people of all faiths are working together to keep And you know this, and we've been discussing this at great length, their country's safe and prosperous. They love their country, and they're going to keep it safe and prosperous.
So that's President Trump saying that Lebanon is on the front lines of the fight against Hezbollah. And I want to stress that he's not making an off-the-cuff remark. He's not, just speaking freely. He's reading off a prepared statement. So whoever wrote this for him, Bashir, must not have known that the man he's standing next to, the prime minister, has a power-sharing deal effectively with Hezbollah. It's fascinating.
Yeah, whatever the correct interpretation of what happened, the correct version, I don't know if it was sheer ignorance, it was Trump tripping on his words, or sheer ignorance from his team. And, it's very much likely that it is the case. There is a long-standing tradition in American U.S. foreign policy or U.S. politics to disregard the fact that Hezbollah is part and parcel of Lebanese politics. I mean, they have a constituency, they're voted into parliament. The people who vote for Hezbollah are not specifically coming from Hezbollah's community. It's, part and parcel of the political landscape, really. And not only this, in the case of Arsal, Hezbollah is almost doing a big favor, at least apparently so, to the West, or to Trump, whose purported or alleged official line is, "I'm fighting ISIS." So yeah, it's quite strange that such a statement is made.
So finally, Bashir, looking ahead, you have in Syria right now, the conflict appears to be winding down, at least in some areas, especially in the aftermath of ceasefires like the one announced today, and also the U.S. Pulling back support for Syrian rebels, which could make a difference in consolidating the Assad regime's control over big parts of the country. That would then ease the pressure on Hezbollah and allow them to maybe pull back their forces some more. And looking also at the fact that, meanwhile, Trump is going after Hezbollah's key ally, Iran, and also making, hostile comments about Hezbollah itself. And the fact that you have occasionally talk of Israel launching another attack in Lebanon to dislodge Hezbollah. What, to you, are the biggest questions and concerns that you have in terms of Lebanon and Hezbollah going forward?
Okay, well, first of all, just a general point. What's happening now in Syria is completely unprecedented, militarily, geopolitically, in the history of the 20th and 21st century, of like modern states. It's really unprecedented. The way these battles were waged and the way, Hezbollah acquires a certain edge or a certain balance of power, or bargaining power, the way Iran has played its role, the way the Gulf has tried to get stuff, etc. It's really, until now, I think most commentators, most analysts don't really understand the results of what's happening. I mean, who's really winning, losing? Obviously, yes, the regime has been able to reacquire a certain sovereignty over certain territories. Hezbollah has played a huge role in doing so. There's definitely a lot of deterrence, if you want, a result of a lot of deterrence taking place. Hezbollah and its allies has proved that certain things cannot be done, and that they will oppose it, and that they will make it fail, if you want. Just like in 2006 when they faced Israel, Israel most likely will never try to do again what it tried to do in 2006, things like that. But we still don't know really, I think, if this can lead to long-lasting solutions or a particular formula of political compromise in Syria. I think it's really too soon to understand this. And most importantly, for the purpose of what you're asking, we really don't know what's the role of Hezbollah in all this. I think even Hezbollah still doesn't really understand what is it going to do with all all these developments, is it going to be a regional power? You know, is it going to play a role in that? Is it going to pull back and just go back to its frontier? Which I think is much less likely, to be honest. I think Hezbollah will play an important role in what's going to happen in Syria, and will always have an eye outside Lebanon, at least for the time being, until there's like strong state structures in place. And Iran too. But I just want to clarify one thing. When Trump says that Hezbollah is a danger to Lebanon because Hezbollah is just being or under the it's a client of Iran in a sense. In a sense, he's not right. He's not wrong. Hezbollah is working with Iran, but it's important to understand that Hezbollah is not just taking orders from Iran, and Hezbollah has its own agenda and needs Iran to do certain things, but also cannot do the certain things that goes contrary to its own agenda, if you want. So it's the complexity of the Iran-Hezbollah relationship is very much misunderstood. At least it's most of the time it's just used as a shortcut to say Hezbollah is not Lebanese or Hezbollah is not in Lebanese interest, even though Hezbollah has been praised by a lot of Lebanese, across confessions, across creed, class and stuff. So, yeah. I don't know if I
especially Bashir, I imagine, in the aftermath of wars like 2006, right? I mean, that
yeah,
was
but even Arsal. I mean, Arsal was, if you had to see all the social media, the TVs, etc., whether Christian or Shia or even Sunni or Muslims and Christians and everybody, for those who affiliate to religious denominations, but even secular people, a lot of people, obviously there was a lot of criticism of Hezbollah, but also there was a lot of support, and Hezbollah was hailed as a hero. And Nasrallah, it's very ironic because as Trump was making his really a bit silly declarations, and Hariri was unfortunately silent the whole time and not saying anything about things, Hezbollah not just liberated a chunk of Lebanese territory, but offered that victory for all Lebanese, made a huge speech about it, like Nasrallah, the Secretary General of Hezbollah, did. And there was a big, if you want, emotional moment in his speech that everybody shared in the press and the social media about thanking the families and the fighters and all that. And Nasrallah was hailed as a national hero by even his critics. I mean, I read this big critic of Hezbollah saying, I have to say, when Nasrallah says these things, I cannot but pay my respect to him, even though I don't agree with Hezbollah's politics. So in these moments, there is a large consensus that there is a national quote unquote thing happening, whatever you want to call it, when the U.S. president, who's not even Lebanese, and he's not supposed to make declaration for Lebanese, it's like, imagine the Lebanese saying the Americans should lose Trump because, he's not American, something like this, or he's not in the interest of the American people. Although you could make that argument, but the point is, it's so ironic that he says something like this when Hezbollah, in a rare moment, has a large consensus of people saying, well done, basically. And that puts Saad Hariri in a precarious position because he's there taking what Trump is saying like this, staying silent and not really standing for what Hezbollah has achieved there. Because yes, in a sense, Hezbollah is a competitor and has been an ally at certain times, but also as an enemy. And Hariri has his own affiliations, with Saudi Arabia and others. So, it's the rest of the story, I guess.
Well, sure, and it's one of many puzzling facets of U.S. policy, especially coming at a time when Hezbollah has just defeated a group who we also apparently want to defeat as well, given that they carried out 9/11, al-Qaeda. But sometimes,
But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it does show in that rare moment that maybe the U.S. has been complicit with these groups all along, because it just doesn't make sense
Well,
when
or it shows that simply the geopolitical goals of the moment happen to take precedent and subsume other matters, such as attacking people who once attacked us.
True.
We have to leave it there, though.
Okay.
Bashir Saadi, lecturer in religion and politics at the University of Stirling, Scotland, author of Hezbollah and the Politics of Remembrance. Bashir, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
And thank you for joining us on The Real News.